So hello guys, welcome back to my video, welcome back to my channel, and today I'll be reviewing the MacBook Pro 13-inch after a couple 2 months of use. So probably most of you have seen my unboxing and overview of the MacBook Pro 13-inch of 2020. That video got 800 views, which was crazy to me. I never thought I'm gonna reach that much views, but apparently, because this is a new product, a lot of people are interested in it, and people want to see reviews. How good is it? Well, now I'm gonna be telling you how good is this MacBook Pro over just using it. So let's begin. Okay, so the MacBook Pro 13-inch 2020, there it is, and I carry it in this Apple black leather sleeve for extra protection because I don't want to scratch this machine, because I carry it in a backpack every day to school. So let's start off with the design. Personally, I like the design. I think MacBooks are the best design, have the best design in my opinion. They're just simple and they're good build they have good build quality. They're all aluminum, so it's premium and it's just simple. Like for MacBook Pros, a squarish design with all equal rounded edges. Like Windows laptops, which have a triangular design. I forgot the name of it, with not aligned corners, kind of, it's not very MacBooks. They're straight, they're simple, they're beautiful. So design, no issues. Now a lot of people have been complaining about the bezel size of the screen, that screen should have smaller bezels. Personally, I don't really mind that because the bezels are already thin enough for me, but I can kind of agree that sort of the screen needs to have an update. The bezels need to be shrinked. But the screen itself, well, let's talk about the display. It's a 2560 by 1600 display. It has P3 color gamut. It goes up to 500 nits of brightness. Now the brightness. The rumors say when the next generation of MacBooks come out, it's gonna have mini LED displays, which should be better displays overall in terms of colors and all that stuff, and in terms of brightness, because brightness is lacking. I would like more brightness when I'm working outdoors. Well, sometimes I do, and brightness, there needs to be more brightness. So, yeah, brightness. Now, obviously, it's not a big issue. I don't usually always work outdoors, but I would love more brightness. But yeah, anyways, it has 500 nits of brightness, a P3 color gamut. Yeah, it's a good display overall. Now on the top, for the webcam, we have a 720p FaceTime camera, and if you saw my MacBook Pro unboxing video, you've seen the quality of the camera. I think it's actually pretty good. The T2 processor chip helps to make the quality camera even better, even though it's 720p. But overall, first of all, webcam is not my main priority. I don't really care what quality it is as long as it's good enough. 720p, let's be honest, is good enough. But yeah, microphone quality is good. It's not awesome, but it's good enough to make Zoom calls if we go to lockdown again. And as I said, you can check that out in my unboxing video of the MacBook Pro 13-inch. Okay, enough of the display, and let's now talk about one of the new updates for the MacBook Pro 13-inch, the keyboard, because it's the Magic Keyboard. And I'm going to be telling you how it was. Now, first of all, when I unboxed the MacBook Pro 13-inch, I tapped on it. I didn't really like it. Now, obviously, because I had to get used to it. But once I got used to it, it's a brilliant keyboard. I really enjoy typing on it. It's very nice. Has a good amount of, because with the butterfly keyboards, they're kind of like flat. You barely press anything. It didn't feel nice. You didn't get a lot of feedback. With this keyboard, you get some feedback, and that's good when typing. But yeah, I'm a fan of this keyboard. Not a lot of people are. They prefer the butterfly switches, but I like the Magic Keyboard. It's, I think, awesome. Now, besides the Magic Keyboard, we also got the new the escape key is now separate, because a lot of people had issues with the escape key being in the touch bar, and sometimes when the touch bar would freeze, it wouldn't work to escape out of an app, which was an issue. You had to restart the computer. Now it's separate. I never had issues because I never experienced MacBook Pros with touch bar before 2020. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it solved some of your problems if you own MacBook Pros from 2016 to 19. For me, I never had problems really. What can I say about it? Anyways, let's now talk about new internals. The specs of my machine, by the way, are a quad-core Core i5, 32GB of RAM, 1TB of SSD. This is a machine that I needed for my uses because with my 15-inch MacBook Pro, I had issues with 16GB of RAM. It was just sometimes like running heavy apps. 512 gigabytes of SSD was a problem when doing rendering and all that stuff, and the processor were just getting old, and it was just kind of laggy. It was not was struggling with the tasks. So on my computer, it is the 4 Thunderbolt 3 model, so I get the 10th chips upgrades, which means for this particular computer, I have a quad-core Core i5 10th Gen CPU. The base clock is 2 GHz, turbo boosts up to 3.9 GHz. That's a good performance because another option you could get, a quad-core Core i7 10th Gen CPU, that had barely any difference between performance. So I just got the Core i5 because the Core i7 has barely any performance boost from the Core i5. Also, we get the new Intel GPU G7 graphics. It's not a discrete GPU like people have been waiting a long time for MacBook Pro MacBook Pro 16-inch. People have been waiting for a long time for discrete GPUs on MacBook Pro 14-inch, but they just can't fit. I guess that's why we've got an internal GPU, I think is what it's called. But basically, yeah. And I gotta say, this GPU is awesome because I honestly expected this MacBook Pro will have issues with video editing, 4K, compressed XAVCS, 4K, whatever I shoot on the Sony camera. I thought this MacBook Pro is gonna have issues with, but no issues at all with video editing. I edited in Final Cut at better quality, and when I had over color correction, text, audio tracks, overlays, no issues at all. That impressed me a lot because having this much power in a portable compact in like 13-inch is awesome. I never wanted a 16-inch, but the benefits of a 16-inch, it has power. But when this power is given to the 13-inch, that's just awesome because I always wanted a portable 13-inch than the 16-inch, for example, which just weighs 2 kilograms and it's very big. This weighs 1.4 kilograms. It's very much portable light, which is also for carrying every day. So yeah, the G7 graphics are awesome. It's 80% faster than the previous graphics in Final Cut Pro. And I don't know how the previous graphics were, but I can tell you that these graphics are awesome. Now, in terms of gaming, some people have been asking me about gaming. The 13-inch MacBook Pro is not that awesome. If you run some heavy games, it's not very awesome. You want to look at the 16-inch, it will run smoother, but this one does a good job. It does a good job. Or you could just buy an external GPU to it and you have no issues. But yeah, now let me tell you the reasons you have the 13-inch MacBook Pro for. Now my 15-inch MacBook Pro from 2013, you probably remember it. Sometimes it just had issues. It will just kick up its fans for no reason. It would get hot for no reason if you're doing very light tasks. But when it comes to editing, it had no issues. It would kick up its fans a lot, though. It would get very hot, but no issues. Sometimes a bit of lag compared to this 13-inch, but no issues. But the problem is, as I started going to school, I needed a portable laptop. And the MacBook Pro 13-inch, not only replaces my 15-inch MacBook Pro, but I also use it for school because it's light and it's way lighter than my 15-inch MacBook Pro. And that's good because I always want, as I said, I always want a portable machine with a lot of power for my tasks. Now in school I do simple stuff. I use Safari because I'm not bothered getting Chrome. Safari, it's always make sure Apple always wants it to be as power efficient as possible, and it always keeps your basic privacy and all stuff. It's very important for Apple as usual. Now, in terms of battery life, I got no issues with battery life. Sometimes I'll rock my MacBook Pro at max brightness, sometimes at mid brightness. At 8 hours of school every day with carrying no charger from 100%, battery life is not an issue at all. Now, when I was using Zoom on my MacBook Pro, because for some reasons I had to, it would just kick up its fans and get very hot. I never had these issues with my 15-inch MacBook Pro when I was using Zoom for online school because we had to. I'm not sure why I did that. Maybe, just I was running Zoom for a long time, 1 hour and 30 minutes. Maybe that's why, but I don't know. Now, a lot of people said that this MacBook Pro 13-inch had a lot of thermal issues. Like, it would get very hot. I never had thermal issues. Now, the MacBook Pro would spin up its fans at max RPM when doing video editing and rendering, especially rendering. It would kick up its fans at max RPM. Obviously, the internal GPU that is in here has to use the max power of it to do the rendering that I edit on here. I also use a 27-inch 5K external monitor from LG, as you saw on this MacBook Pro. It runs with no issues. No, it doesn't get hot. It doesn't kick up its fans. It runs it fine, basically. And as I said in my review, you can run two 4K monitors, one 5K monitor, or one 6K monitor on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. But yeah, the MacBook Pro 13-inch, it impressed me, basically. I didn't know I would get this much performance out of an Ultrabook, basically, because I thought I would have issues with the 13-inch, but I'm impressed by the GPU and the processor that's packed inside this MacBook Pro. And I'm very happy with it, because, as I said, this much power in a portable machine is always awesome for me. Now, I expected on the Apple October event and the Apple September event ARM Macs, but looks like they're still not here. So I'm going to be answering this question: should you buy the 13-inch MacBook Pro while ARM Macs are not coming? Well, first of all, ARM Macs might be coming secretly on the end of October, because as you know, Apple sometimes releases secretly products. Remember last year, 16-inch MacBook Pro, AirPods Pros, those were secretly released at the end of October. So I'm maybe guessing MacBooks might be updated with ARM processors, but no rumors have been listed, so I don't know. But if you need a Mac right now, I think the 13-inch MacBook Pro is awesome, and you should get it. It's an absolute, my favorite device of 2020. But if you can wait, I reckon you should wait, because I have a feeling somewhere in my heart ARM Macs might be coming soon, and you should wait. And as I said in my review, I made the purchase, I made a wrong purchase because I should have waited for ARM Macs, but apparently ARM Macs were not released in the Apple September event and October, which means I was kind of, relieved that I bought the 13-inch MacBook Pro and ARM Macs were still not. Basically, you get the idea. But anyways, guys, that's been a review of my MacBook Pro 13-inch 2020. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.